Hello, everyone. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Um, Apologies that we are starting behind schedule. We had issues with the live stream, but we are good to go. So good evening, everyone, once again, and hope you're excited for week 4 of this program. We are gradually edging towards the halfway line of this cohort, and it's been a fun time of learning, and hope you've made 1 or 2 friends, developer friends, to help you along the way. Okay, so today I would just go through some of the questions that we have. Okay, we'll go through some of the questions that we have, and then we would proceed from there. Okay, before we enter into the task. So basically, the agenda we have for today is we would go through the questions we have on the form. Okay, so we have some questions from last week, which I think would be beneficial to all of us. Okay, so we'll do the questions from the form. Number 2, we'll look at functions, and then we'll look at this task, the task number 4. Okay, well, with 4 tasks. Okay, we hope to cover this in the between now and the next 1 hour 30 minutes, or 1 hour, less than basically 1 hour. We hope to cover all this within 1 hour. Okay, so we would let's start from questions from week 3. Okay, can I already answer this? So somebody is talking about what the meaning of dependencies and third party. Okay, there are normal dependencies, and then we have third party dependencies. Okay, basically, third party dependencies are dependencies that are being used, okay, or basically that are made from people that are outside the development team of the IDE, or people that are outside the development team of the IDE, or text editor. Okay, text editor. Okay, so if you go to VS Code, you would see that. Okay, I will just use Repl.it as an example. Okay, I will just go to Repl.it and use Repl.it as an example. Okay, think that. Let me see if there's any tutorials. Let me see. Okay, I'll just use this as an example. Okay. So if, let us say, this is my IDE. Okay, take for instance, this is my IDE, and I come here, and this is where I can install packages. Okay, this is where I go to install packages, basically for that I want to use while working. Okay, while building my application. So there are different packages we have here. Let me just say Node. Okay, different packages you have here. Okay, that some that are developed by most of them are developed by, I don't know who are the people that developed Repl.it, but like VS Code, we all know that it's from Microsoft. So there's some application, let us say it's Microsoft that did Repl.it too. So let's say these are the packages that Microsoft did. Some of them Microsoft did, but there are some that it's not Microsoft that did it, that basically created such packages or wrote the codes that it's not the Microsoft development team that did those packages. Okay, those packages were done by people outside the Microsoft development team. So those packages now become third party. It's a third party. It's not. They are not from Microsoft. Okay, they are not from Microsoft. They are not. Most of them are not integrated into Microsoft, but basically we want to use them. Okay, I think I basically used most of this third party when I was working with um, when I was working as an Android developer. Okay, we make use of third party dependencies a lot, especially when we want to go into UI, when we want to use the XML and we want to do some curved display, some styling in the Android application, basically the Android application UI and UX. Or we want to do some complex calculation that we use third-party libraries. We use third-party dependencies. Okay, it just makes work easier. Someone has done it already, so why not use what someone else has done to you know move your move your project forward. Okay, so that's just basically what it's all about. Okay, um the next thing we'll talk about is, just give me a second. Let me make sure that you guys are following. Okay, let me make sure you guys are following. Okay, I can see that you guys are following. So if you're just with me, you can just say hi. Okay. The next question we'll be answering is okay, extensions. How can we install extensions on Repl.it? Like I said, we use this function, basically this box here. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, but basically this box here, packager. Okay, we use it to install. Basically, you can use these are the function tools basically for Repl.it. You use this for unit tests. Okay, but this is what you use to install packages or in Repl.it and extensions. The extensions are basically packages here in Repl.it. So it's still distinct extensions. Okay. So I can install Axios, I can install types, I can do TypeScript, I can do like this TypeScript. Let us see. Don't know that they have node one. Okay, they have node one. Okay, so I can install node one here, basically just by clicking and it will install. Okay, npm install node one. You can see how it's being installed. Okay, so that's basically that for that. We'll just go straight to the week 4 questions. I think we're already done with week 3 with that answer. Okay, yes. So we'll go to week 4. How do I proceed to proceed to stage 2 on the normal guessing game? Okay, when we get to that, I would explain what you are expected to do. I won't be writing any codes now today. I'll be explaining what you're expected to do. I will explaining your thought process, how your thought process is supposed to look like. This is just Monday. I will not be writing codes now. If I start writing codes on Monday, what will I be doing on Thursday and on Friday? You understand? So I will not write codes now. I will give you a few hints based on thought process. Okay, I'll let you go research, look for answers. Okay, this is, you already know that you want to be able to go to stage 2. How should it look like? I'll give you those hints, verbal hints. okay? And then on Thursday, I will not leave it for Friday. On Thursday, we will go into writing some codes to back up the hints. But by Thursday, I expect that most of you that are having any issue for this task with 4 tasks, you must have finished and submitted. Okay, you must have followed the thought process, looked, searched for solutions, seen your solution on it, and finished your task. Okay, so what we'll be doing is just for those that are still finding it difficult. So Thursday will be that time whereby we will just do little. I won't still give you the answers. I'm not going to be doing the project for you. I'm just going to be, give some examples, that can just let you understand what you're supposed to do. Give another scenario altogether, but that knowledge will help you in solving the problems you may be facing for the guessing game task. How do I connect my Repl.it account with my GitHub account as instructed in the assignment? Okay. Thank God I have a Repl.it installed already. So let's look at version control. So you have to go to version control. You get it. So here I'm triggered to basically are made to either create a Git repo or use an existing Git repo. No, they didn't say GitHub repo, it's Git. Okay. So I'll say I want to create a Git repo. Okay. So, but the thing there now is my Repl.it account is already connected to my GitHub. Okay. But if it's not connected to your GitHub, I think from here it would take you through the steps of connecting your Repl.it account to GitHub once you go from version control. Okay. So I would new repo. So I'm made to create a new repo. Okay. And I will just say example and what show how to connect Repl.it to GitHub. Okay, you can make it public or private, but I'm not going to. I'll just make it public. Okay, and create a repository. So that's like unable to create a repository. Okay. Let's walk through like this. So I'll go to Repl.com. And from here, let's see if we can access my GitHub. Okay. Okay. GitHub. Okay. I can access my GitHub. It shows perfectly. Okay. So why am I having issues? So I'll go back to my home and let's try again. I'm not supposed to be having issues, but basically, that's how you do the connection to GitHub. You use version control. That's this button here. Let me look at my settings. Settings, not much ought to be in settings though. Back to version control. Let me see. Okay. Plugin crashed. Wow. Okay. So what will happen? Looks like I'm using an existing project that I've already created a looks like because I'm using a project that I've already created a I've connected to GitHub already. Maybe that's why it's not working. So this is a very new project. I just created it. So I will just try it again with this. I hope it works. Okay. Let's see, giving me this initial commit. This is a new repo. Moving to page that there's an issue opening of the sidebar and submitting schedule the get help button. Okay, so it looks like this is an issue from GitHub. Okay, like this is an issue from GitHub. So what I would do is what I would do if I were you, I would, like I said, I clicked existing connect an existing repository instead. So I would go to github.com and then from there I would there's so many things I need to do with my GitHub account. I've not done a lot. So I'll just create about Repl.it, about Repl.it. Okay. This is what I need. Okay. So I just copied what I did here was after creating it, I copied this. Notice HTTPS, not SSH, HTTPS. So I copied this and then I basically pasted it here. So now I'm about to connect. So I'm connected already. Okay, I'm connected already. If I say let me just write a simple, but we'll be looking at functions. So I will just write a simple function that we'll be using, okay? Function, sorry, speak. I think we've used this function before. We have used this function before, but let's just basically use it again. It's kind of a simple function. Okay, so let's run this function and see. Okay, that it works. It works. So what I would do is I can create different branches here if I want. Okay, but I think I'll just stick with the main branch. Okay, main. What did you change? Added a speak. Okay, another thing that I want you to know that when you are making commit changes and all that, uh, you should there should be self-explanation of what you did. Okay, so like now, what I will do is added a speak function that returns language. Okay, then console console.log English. Okay, most times we use console.log basically to just check if our code is correct, if our code is doing what we want it to do. You understand? Most often than not, during production, like during production in the production application, you rarely see, in fact, you rarely see console.log, basically. What do you want to log inside console? Everything you want to do, everything you want basically you don't use console.log for production, okay? Because you don't want to log anything inside the console. Everything that you want to be displayed should be displayed to the user, not in the console, okay? Console is basically just our team as developers. So I'll commit all and push. So I said GitHub on your behalf. Please grant permission. Okay. So we have to use their doc. Okay. I didn't know that this would be this difficult. But let's look at people that are looking at my this thing and my password. Get your eyes off my screen. Okay. So let's see. Already it has done the commit basically here after connecting that way. It has done the commit here. So what I just need to do is push the codes to the GitHub repository. So the first stage is commit. Commit is basically staging your changes for let me put it, deployment to GitHub. Okay, but that's not the right word to use. Deployment is not the right word. It's just basically commit is staging your changes so that they can be pushed to GitHub. Okay, and I think by now my code should have been pushed to GitHub. So I will just reload this to see how far. Okay, so basically this is it. Everything here already. So that's how you do your connection of Repl.it to GitHub. So what the assignment says what the task says that you have to put a readme. So you add a readme and you put your Repl.it link. So let's say this is my my assignment, my task. So what I'll do here is I can come here and I think there's supposed to be a place for share. But basically, so copy this, okay? You copy this and paste. Okay, but I need to know, see if there's a specific place to share. Okay. I think that's what we'll just copy this link. Just copy this link here that you have and then paste it in your readme. Okay. That will do. I would delete this. Okay. So I think we are good to go. Okay, with that. Okay, with is there any other? Okay, this person asked this question late, but I will just answer it. When you use the prompt, the user in the number, how do you want us to do that? Since we are doing the I'm not sure if you mean to use window.prompt since it's available for them. So how do we go about? Okay, so I will just give you that that answer shortly. Okay, I'll give you the answer shortly. But basically, we are to use yes, you use that prompt, the prompt method, okay, that's available to everyone in your JS. That's what we use, okay, the prompt method. The okay, let's look at this, okay. Everything is now going to get complex here. So let's look at functions. We'll get back to this. Okay. But I think but I think you should have gone through the material, but let's look at functions with this. Well, I want us to look at functions first because I wanted to do something. What was this? Okay, disconnect people. I deleted it already. Okay, so because I wanted to do something like language, you have parameters to function, but I want to, I can make a parameter to be one of the parameters in a function, any of the parameters in a function to be a default, to have a default value. And I can just do that by saying equals to English. Okay. So when I do this, think, yeah, it comes out as English. Okay. So why I wanted to do it this way is I will prompt for username. I think that's part of the assignment. So let us just prompt for username. Okay. So there are there are extensive ways in which you can make prompts stick with different data types. Okay, I think we have something like parse string. Okay. I know we have parse int. Okay. Parse int is when you want it to be strictly an integer. So if the user inputs any other thing that is not an integer, it will refuse it. Okay. But let's look at prompt first before we go into that. Prompt. Okay. Sorry about this. Okay. Enter username number. Enter your username number. So since I want this to be a number, basically an integer. Okay, instead of just leaving it this way, I'll just copy this, cut this away. Okay. Or since this is already proving difficult, I'll just pass int. Okay, you can pass floats, but I want to pass int, and that means this will have double. Okay, so we'll look at from here. I'll put this um I use this backtick. I've wanted to use this backtick since. Okay, so the user the user called username with the number user name number. I think this should be better as user number, not username number. With the number, user number, speak. Then we'll call the function speak. Let's see if this works. Okay. Enter your username. Bloom. Enter your number one. Definitely. The user called SammyBloom with the number one can speak English. Okay. So you use the prompt. The user called SammyBloom with the number. Okay. I will change this to annoy some people now. Okay. The enter the best team in EPL. So we'll change this since by changing the prompt, I'd like to just change the name of the variable. Best team. Here I'll put team position, enter the team's position. Then I'll say the instead of saying the so and so, I'll just go straight to using best team. Best is thing I talk is the team position. So best team is the team position in the just saying speak English. I'll leave it as speak. Okay. We're gonna put we can leave it like that in the this and put plus and let's see. Hope my spell. Okay, because of I'll put a space here. The notes I'm combining different ways of writing strings. I'm just combining everything in one. Let's see if it works. This is my conclusion that I'm trying to do. Okay, so let's see if it works. Best team in the EPL. Sorry guys, but the truth is, as of now, it's Arsenal and the number one position. Arsenal is okay. I will is Mumba one in the English Premier League. Let's try again. Arsenal number one. Arsenal is number one in the English Premier League. Okay. So I think with that, we basically have been able to pass the message across. Okay. Whatever message you got from here, well, uh, guys, don't throw me under the bus. Okay. Um, please, it is to run just the way you are seeing me. I'm getting questions. Is the game, is it to run on NodeJS terminal or is it to run on browser? Just like you're seeing me doing whatever I'm doing on the console, that's how I expect that your guessing game should run on the console. So the prompt is going to be, since the prompt is already on the console, expect everything to be on the console like this. So it's going to be basically your username, enter your username, you enter your username just like you did in the console. Please don't use VS Code, use Repl.it. Okay, use Repl.it. And there's a reason I want you to use Repl.it, because when you use Repl.it, I would just want to, just the way you're seeing me, I just run it once. I'm not going to, we have, like you already know, or as you already know, we are quite behind in grading. We are quite behind. I think I only finished week 2 for Node.js. For those people that are just offering Node.js task, I just finished week 2 today. So everybody that did week 2 for Node.js task, all of you have been graded. I entered week 2 for the front end and Node.js, that's the full stack track, hoping to summarize that if um, if there's power. Okay, I'm going to be able to summarize that today, this night, stroke tomorrow early morning. okay, so that I can be able to enter into week 3 task, okay, clear off that week 3 task. One of the issues we're having with grading is basically power, okay. I don't know, there have been real shortage of power since last week, okay, but I think I'm hopeful that this week is going to be different, okay, and so grading would work will be a lot more faster, okay. So please use the console and use Repl.it. If you use VS Code, I would grade you, but you won't get full mark. I won't lie to you. And it does depend on how happy I am. Okay. I may just slash half, you get half, even though your code ones where you get 2.5. Okay. I think it's over 10. So you get 5. I think this is over 10. This is your first task that is 10 marks or 10 points. So please just adhere to instructions. Okay. I do not grade front end, your front end task. I'm just solely grading Node.js task. If you're offering full stack, that's front end and Node.js, someone else is grading your front end portion. I'm the one that will grade the Node.js portion. Okay, so Node.js task, and that's why for every task is in this basically in this similitude. Every task is basically in this similitude. Okay. Okay, task title week 4 Node.js task. Is not basically that Node.js task is telling you the track, okay, the particular stack, okay, there are different tracks, but this tells you the particular stack, okay. Node.js, since front end and Node.js is a track, Node.js is a stack and it's also a track. Node.js basically tells you it's Node.js task. It does not have anything to do with front end, it does not have anything to do with Python, it does not have anything to do with PHP. Okay, it's for Node.js, and that's what I'm basically working on. Okay, I'm only giving you grading criteria. I'm not supposed to show you guys grading criteria, but I'm not supposed to see any of it. So we want us to go through let me see if I can access a whiteboard online. Okay. Oh, is this not Trello? No, this is Jira. This symbol I've seen before. And I've worked with it before. So okay. So the thought process for your game, that where we are now. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is they said create a number guessing game to generate a number between the range of 1 and 2. Okay. So note the first range we are told to okay, this is a bad idea. And I don't have a touch screen. This is a bad idea. It's going to even be slower than I I thought. But what are we going to use now? Let's just use a notepad. Okay, so I'll be sharing my notepad with you guys. We use notepad. You Control plus. Okay. So the first thing you want to is that there's range and it's equals to 1 to 2. I don't know if you can see clearly. You can see what I'm doing and it's clear at your end. Okay. I don't know if that's the case. Okay, there's text too. Okay, so I think I will just go back. I think I'll it will be better for me to use the whiteboard. Okay, so I'm sharing the whiteboard back. So sorry for the back and forth. Okay, yeah. So the first thing is range, and range is equals to 1 to 2. That's the first information we are given. Okay, that's the first information we are given. That your range is ought to be from 1 to 2. There should be a way to erase this thing. Okay, so we'll just use this. Pardon the range I was trying to write there. Okay, so the first thing we see is that range is equals to between 1 and 2. Let's go further. Okay, the game should prompt the user for that username. The next thing you need is prompt for username. Okay, the next thing you need is set range as function parameter and prompt the player to predict the generated number within the given range. So now the first range we have is 1 to 2. One of the things I would advise you to do, okay, is before you do that function range, I would advise you to skip that part first. Okay, your aim is you want to see that you can be able to use 1 to 2 first. Okay, the range between 1 and 2. If you can be able to, if you can be able to create your guessing game with the range between 1 to 2, then you cannot add that function. Okay, because at some point we need it to be a function for a reason. Okay, or if you can even do it without making it a function, fine. But the conventional way is to make it a function, or okay. But when we get there, you understand what I'm talking about as we proceed with the question. So we are skipping set range, we are skipping this. Okay. We'll prompt user for prompt users for their username. Another thing that we can infer from what is there, it may not have been written in black and white, is that we will prompt user to guess between to guess a number within. You understand when I do this? Let's take, for instance, range is a variable. We're not taking, for instance, this range is a variable. So I'm putting this $sign and all this, so you will know that it's this range I'm talking about. Okay? It's not another range. So at correct guess, the game should award the player a point and move them to stage 2 by increasing the range limit value by 1. Okay? So if this prompts the number that the user gets from here, okay? Another thing that is already inferred from here, from the statements we have read already, is that computer, when put it like layman, computer should randomly guess a number within range. Okay. The whole idea is if what the user inputs, okay, after being prompted, let us say since the range is 1 to 2, so it's either 1 or 2. Okay, it's either 1 or 2. So let's say when the user was prompted to guess, the user guessed 1, and you told the computer to randomly pick a number between 1 and 2, and the computer picked 1. That means once this is equals to this, once the prompt, the guess of the user is equals to the generated number, randomly generated number by the computer. So if this is 1 and the computer guessed also 1, if the user and the computer guess the same number, 1, 1, that means it's a success. It's telling you add points. So there will be another variable called points, which should start at 0. Okay, so the initial point should start at 0. But if this is equals to this, the number that user guessed is equals to the number that the computer generated, then point is going to be +1. You add 1 point to points, and then you will increase this 2 by 1. So the new range will now be 1. Okay, I'm not supposed to create a new variable. Okay, I'm not supposed to create a new variable because it's not going to be ideal. Okay, so it's going to be like 1 to 3. Now, I don't know, I'm putting it range like this. I'm not saying that that's how it is written in JavaScript. If you notice, I'm trying not as much as possible not to write JavaScript, okay, in this explanation. So one of the ways you can do it is you can create a variable for this, create a variable for this, you understand? But it's left to you how you want to do it. I think I've seen different and various versions of this assignment, and they all got it. Okay, they all got it. They all nailed it. So just the way you want to do it, just the way you understand it, you do it. Okay. So basically, it increases. So let's say I'll create two variables here: minimum value equals to 1, max value equals to 2. Okay. So what is trying to say that range is minimum value to max value. Okay. So if this thing works, if this number the user guesses and the one the computer generated is the same, strictly equal to, best to use that strictly equal to, that's the triple equal to sign, is strictly equal to, then add points, 1 point to points, and then increase max value by 1, basically. And then it goes back again. After that, it goes back again to start the game again. Like, not start the game again, but to basically continue. But in continuing the game, you have to go back to that initial code of enter a value between, now instead of saying between 1 and 2, you're going to say enter a value, a number between 1 and 3. And then the computer also generates a number between 1 and 3. If both of them is the same, it adds 1 point, increases the other one to 4. So it's from 3 to 4. Okay. If it does not work, it's at any given point in time, if the number that is guessed it's not the same with the number that is being generated. Okay, it's just at any point in time, it should console.log. Okay, you got it wrong. You can say you got it wrong, try again, or you got it wrong, restart. Okay, if you got it wrong, you have to restart, and then it automatically goes to restart. I know you know what to use to restart. At least that one is very simple. If you want something to just cut and go back to, there's something, a command that there's a code you use for it, and I think we talked about it the last time. Okay, so that's basically the assignment. So the EG range is from 1 and 3 for stage 2. Okay, so for stage 1, range is from 1 and 2. From stage 2 is 1 and 3. For stage 4 is 1 and 4. Stage 4 is 1 and, for stage 2 is 1 and 3. For stage 3 is 1 and 4. For stage 4 is 1 and 5. 1 to 5, sorry, not 1 and 5. It's 1 to 5, 1 to 3. So for stage 1 is 1 to 2. For stage 2 is 1 to 3. For stage 3 is 1 to 4. For stage 4 is 1 to 5. For stage 5 is 1 to 6. For stage 6 is 1 to 7. This is the range we're talking about. Okay, so that's basically it for the task. If you have any further question concerning task, you would have to should zoom into my screen. I think I'm looking at my screen from I'm looking at my string from the YouTube live and from the stream, and pretty um it's pretty clear, it's pretty big. Okay, the font size is pretty big. Anything more than this is like, what do you want that? Do you want it to be like this? Are you okay with it like this? Okay, so yes, you have to award points to the player. At some point, you have to I would say if it's running till infinity, fine. Okay, I'm not awarding marks if you cut it, but if you can cut it as at stage 10, the game ends and says you're an ultimate winner. There's none like you, like that have played this game. You are the best in the game, or say something in the console that practically ends everything. She gets it. It practically ends everything. Fine. And now you have to basically do an if statement to that regard. Okay. Um, so basically that's it for and I think we already touched functions when I was doing that, but the other stuff. But if you want me to if you want me to also go through this as functions, okay, we can just still go through it. Okay, so functions, the building block of code that we can execute on demand. So the idea of functions is that we want to be able to put certain lines of code, okay, certain lines or certain blocks of code in a place whereby, how will I put it? It's just like putting toys into a box, okay? And each time you want to use the toy, you carry the box, okay? I want to use the toy in Abuja. I'll carry the box to Abuja, use it there. I want to use the toys in Port Harcourt. I'll carry the toys to Port Harcourt, use it there. I want to use the toy in Sokoto. I carry it to Sokoto. I basically there. So function gives that container whereby some blocks of lines and blocks of code can be written in, and they are reusable. You can now reuse them at every given point in time. So when you are not just at every given point in time, you have to use them within scope, and the scope here is going to be within the class in which they were created, except you want to now inherit from that class. And that's where the concept of inheritance comes in. I think tomorrow we'll dive deeper into inheritance. That's what I'm going to be teaching tomorrow. Outside the questions, we'll just look at the subject of inheritance, okay? Except you want to inherit the class in which this method was created, okay? You inherit the class, and because you're inheriting the class, you inherit the methods, methods and functions that are the same. You inherit the functions that therein, okay. But most time when I say methods and functions, they are the same, they are basically the same, used interchangeably. But most times we like using methods when we want to call when we are calling it, okay, calling it from when we are calling it, developers we mostly use it same method, but I'm going to call this method, okay. Most other developers say we want to call this function, but it's hard for me I think I don't think I've heard any developer say I want to declare this method. They always say I want to declare function and then call method. It's the same thing, like I said, method and function used interchangeably, okay. So one of the things that things about functions is that it can take in an input here. You can see the diagram. Let me see how this diagram looks, okay. You can use a lot, but I mean, why use alert when you can just easily use console.log. Okay. Okay, so I will just continue with function. I just wanted to look at what was going on in YouTube. Okay, so function basically can take an input and gives you an output. Okay, basically. So you can pass informations into a function and they are called parameters. We'll look at more of them inside. But this picture gives you the overview of functions. Okay, we have some created functions, inbuilt functions in Node.js, in Java, not just in Node.js. We have some inbuilt functions in Node.js. We have some inbuilt functions in JavaScript. Okay, but just know that all inbuilt functions in JavaScript are available in Node.js, but not all inbuilt functions in Node.js are available in JavaScript. I hope that makes sense. Okay. At its core, we did this explanation. So this site is written basically. So it starts with the keyword function. Note, what do we say about keyword? Keywords can be used, you can't use keywords as variable name. These are words that are used by the development team, JavaScript development team, the people that wrote the JavaScript language, that created the JavaScript language. They use this keyword as a means to be able to write JavaScript code effectively. So you can't use them as variable names. They are all these special words in JavaScript. Okay. So the key is function, and then the name of the function. Name of the function can be anything. It's for you to decide. But you see this function, it's not for you to decide. It must be there. So you write function first, and then name this anything. Name of function, name of team, name of movies, name of series, name of whatever. Okay. So I want to create a function to display a greeting. It might look like this. Okay. I would copy this code and let's look at it in Repl.it. Okay. Let's look at it in Repl.it. Okay. So if we run this, question is, why is this not running? You understand? This is a function. I just wrote the function. I'm saying it should console.log something, but it's not working. And the reason is that you've declared the function, you've created the function, but you are not calling the function at any given point in time. So to make this work, what I will just do is call the function. And how do I call the function? Just write the function name, just the way it is, with the two brackets, or with the two braces. Okay, with the two braces. That's these two braces. Tells us that it's a function, just as we have two braces here. And then if we run this, it inputs, it consoles hello world. Okay. So so you create a function and then look at it, you call the function. Okay. So you have best practices for functions. We'll just think we're almost the end. Time is okay. As always, use descriptive names so you know what the function will do. Like I always say, your variable name, your function name, it should be descriptive. They should say what that function is doing, what that variable stands for. You understand? Use camel casing. Think you some in this I used camel casing. You can see display camel casing is the first letter must be a small letter. The first letter of any variable of any function should be in we call it small letter in Nigeria. Okay, in most part Nigeria. In English, it's lowercase. Should be in lowercase. Okay, the first letter should be in lowercase. Then along the way, if it's like two words joined together, if it's two words joined together, like we have here, display is one word, greeting is another word. So the start of the next word, the first letter in the next word will be capitalized. So it's like camel. A camel case is basically it follows the way the back of a camel is. So it's from down, and then you see the camel at the middle, it hunches upward. It goes upward, hunches upward, and then comes down again. So that's where the whole idea of camel case came from. Okay. So it must be in camel case. Then keep your functions focused on a specific task. The best practice is that if I want to randomly generate an integer, and then let me look at okay, take for instance calculator. I want to create a calculator, and we have different signs: plus, minus, division, multiplication. If I want to write the code for plus, that's addition, I will not put addition, subtraction in the same function and then multiplication and division in another function, or put all four in one function. No. Like we said, it said yeah, it should be doing a focused, it should be focused on doing a specific task. So addition will have its own function, subtraction will have its own function, multiplication its own function, division its own function, everybody to their tenths. Okay, everybody to their function. So that's how best practices for um, writing functions. So yeah, information can be passed into a function, and the information passed to a function is called parameters. We did an example of parameters already when we talked about the whole language thing. Okay, we said something about language. I can put this universe. Okay. Um, I would um basically can copy this. Since we're saying hello world, okay, I'll put this. Okay, no. Hmm. Okay, so let's try it. Um, what's oh, so sorry, so sorry. Okay, are you guys still with me? Okay, the file has already been declared. Okay, yeah. I'm getting all these. Okay. Planets. And if I see, this should be um, I'll just copy this code here. And trying to do is almost exactly what they did. And that's why it's giving me issues, not something off my head. Okay. So they used hello, and then they used planets. I'm using planets. Okay. And then basically I'm calling universe planet display. Okay. And then I want here to be Mercury. Oh, Mercury. Okay. Because this would be planet. Okay. Okay. I think this should work. Okay. Yes. This should work. So hello Mercury, basically. I'm passing an argument called planet. Okay. And putting it here as okay, and it's being stored in the variable name called universe. I'm consoling.log and I just want to log out universe. Okay. So one of the importance of using parameters is when you want to edit, when you want to when planets can change. Okay. It's not fixed. So it can change at any depending on the code that is being run. It's depending on the situation, the output of the code that is being run. Planets can change. So now it's I'm putting it display greeting and I'm hard coding Mercury here. Okay. So when I want to change it to let us say Pluto, I don't need to change anything inside the function. I really do not need to change anything inside the function. What I just need to change is the declaration of the function. So you see that this function is basically now constant. Throughout my code, throughout my project, this function will be constant. If there's again going to be any changes, it has to be from where it is declared. Okay, from where it is declared. So here I can say, and you know that this let's do something. Let's go a little bit complex. Okay, let's third planet equals to sorry. Let's try using okay. Let's not go this way. Let us use the normal Pluto, and then I can display greeting and say said planet. Let's see if it works. Pluto. So you can see So at every given point in time, this variable can change. And once this variable change, this variable can change too. So now I've made this with this code now, made this I have made both the creating the function itself and the declaration of the function constant. So what will determine the planet that would be consoled is not my code. And my code is this my variable. Okay, it can be a variable, it can be an array, it can be something I can put an array and say, okay, I want to randomly pick from this array. Okay, I want to randomly pick from this array one of the elements of the array just to at random. It's just randomly picking. Okay, this can be S. Okay, this can be S. It's going to change to S. So basically, that's how functions work. Okay, that's how functions work. Okay, for questions, like I said, we're not supposed to take questions as we are doing office hours. Okay, I just try as much as possible to ask answer some of the questions here. But basically, office hours are meant to answer questions that have already been asked. Okay, so if you have any question, you can just write it down. Okay, write it down, send it to our to the office hour form. Okay, just write it down in the office hour form, and the next office hour it will be treated. Basically, that's the policy we're operating. Okay, within the Zuri team. Okay. Default values. I already used the default values already. When we're writing code. So your parameters can have a default value. Okay. Then we have return values. When you want it to return something, okay. You want it to return something at every given point in time. Okay. But basically that's it about functions. Time is already up. I think we have just less than 10 minutes to go. We didn't even do a we didn't do pre-lecture quiz and all that. Okay, but let's try and see if we can do some post-lecture quiz. I think that'll be the last thing we'll do for we round off. Okay, arguments must be provided for all parameters in a function, true or false. Okay, I'll just allow you to write your answer. What do you think? Arguments must be provided for all parameters, true or false. Why is this thing going out of life? I'm not seeing any of your answers in the chat box. More answers. I'm expecting more answers. Okay, everybody's saying false, so let us try it. We got it. So what does a default value do? Okay, set a correct value, gives a starter value for a parameter so your code still behaves if you omit an argument for it. Has no utility. What's the answer? Already is false. The answer is false for that. Okay. So it does not set a correct value. That value can be changed as your code runs. Okay. the default value changes can change, but the default value is at a default state, so that at every given point in time, there's something that's being shown, even if peradventure you as a programmer forgot to put something there, the right, or let me say the code did not run. Okay, let me say the code did not run. There was an error in the code. It would at least come out with a value. It's not be empty. So the answer is this. A fat arrow function allows you to do what? A fat arrow function allows you to do what? B. Somebody saying B. Is everybody saying B? Is everybody saying B? Okay. So I would just fat arrow function is more like, okay, one of the ways we use to write higher order functions. Okay, and then basically it helps you to, it makes things kind of more straightforward. You omit the function keyword. With that arrow, the JavaScript already know that, okay, this is a function. Okay, so it's not, the fat does not mean bogus, like big. You are occupying space, your matter. Does not mean you are creating an anonymous function, but it means, okay, it allows you to create the omit the function keyword. Congratulations, you completed the quiz. So thank you so much for staying with us for this session, office hour session. Okay. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's session is by 2 to 3 p.m. Okay. We'll be talking about inheritance. We'll be answering all your questions. Those who have questions from this class, okay, from this office hour, ask your questions. Okay, they'll be treated first, and then we'll go over to inheritance. So thank you so much for staying with us. See you next time. Bye.